Hi, everybody, and welcome to Splash Bros with me, Cbreezy, and my boy, Lumpy's07.
What's up, guys? Hope it's going well. If you have watch our videos, usually I start it, but this time Cbreezy gave the introduction, and he's going to tell us what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, we're mixing things up here today. So, today we thought it might be an interesting topic to talk about two players who are in very similar situations. Both players at the peak of their primes were the best at their position, arguably, but due to injuries, are now in a state where you wonder if they have a future in the NBA. And those two players are going to be DeMarcus Cousins and Blake Griffin.
Yeah, yeah. So we're gonna start with Cousins. Okay, let's just quickly go to the main, the big, I don't know what you call it. The obvious fact is that he is injury prone.
Yeah,
And he is the Lakers released him, you told me? Or yeah, he's a
I
free
think the
agent.
Lakers.
Yeah. So I think he still has a place in the NBA just because he's Cousins, and I like Cousins because he's such a physical guy, and he plays. Yeah, he isn't that like you know
No, he's an intimidating
he's
guy.
intimidating. So yeah, I don't know. You take it away, Breezy.
Okay, well, I mean, let's start at the start. At the Sacramento Kings, he was an all-star. Obviously, the Kings were bad. Got his opportunity at the Pelicans, and they had the best front court in the NBA with Anthony Davis and Cousins. Tore his Achilles, went to the Golden State Warriors, and I don't think he hurt the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people say that he hurt the Golden State Warriors. I just think he didn't fit in the system and he didn't play a lot. I mean, if you look at his per 36 minutes, his per 36 minutes was still great. Um, and now, obviously, he went to the Lakers, tore his ACL. So, for me, is he injury prone? Yes. But does it affect his playing style? No, I don't think so because he wasn't highly reliant on athleticism. I mean, he could dunk over guys, but that's mainly due to his brute strength and power because Cousins is a massive guy. I mean, he's so strong. And the thing that he could do well is he could destroy you in the paint, but you can't leave him open. You can shoot the free ball, you can shoot the open ball. So for me, I think Cousins still has a place in the NBA, and I think any team would be willing to give Cousins a contract if they don't have a great starting caliber center. And personally, for me, I don't think there's any team that would miss the opportunity to have DeMarcus Cousins on your side. I think there's a lot of fringe contenders who can do with Cousins, and I think Cousins can go a long way because looking at everything at this moment, you don't even have to pay Cousins big money. I'm talking here about a 1 year, 5 million contract. And that's nothing for a player who could arguably give you 20 and 10 a night. And other
Yeah,
players who give
yeah.
you 20 and 10 a night make 20 to 30 million.
No, definitely, definitely. Uh, I think, yeah, for a small team or not, a franchise that is not that, uh, and we talk about this a lot. Also, when we're going to talk about Blake Griffin, the you know, the franchise is going to get a lot out of that guy with fans, and also if you need a center, there you go, DeMarcus Cousins. He's physical. He is definitely, I think, when he, like you said, on his prime, he was one of the best centers in the league.
Mm.
But yeah, I still think he has a place in the NBA. I don't think you should count him out yet. But yeah, I think I like him, and he is, physical. If you're watching, you'll see in the game, he's rebounding. All that skills. He's absolutely a monster. Uh, so yeah, I don't know. Do you want to say
Yeah,
anything else about him? Uh, you know?
yeah. I would say one thing about Cousins. I think Cousins still has value, and I think not only on court but off court, because Cousins is pretty much a household name. So if you're a small market franchise, and you could get a player like Cousins, that could maybe pump up merchandising. And if Cousins has a good season, for example, if you sign him to a 2-year contract, you just might attract one or two free agents to your franchise. I think Cousins still has value. I think Cousins should be managed well. I think he should be in the right state of mind because he has a little bit of not necessarily an ego problem, but I would say he has a high temperament. And I think
Yeah,
that's something that makes him a good player. He uses it to his advantage. But personally, for me, I think Cousins could be an X factor on any team. I think any team would be stupid to not give a contract to Cousins because he's going to be cheap, and I think he still has a lot to give and a lot of value. I'm not saying he's going to return to his prime days of averaging 28, 27 points per game as well as 12 rebounds, but he could definitely still go back to being a guy that could give you 20 points per game and 10 rebounds per night, and that's what Jokic is currently averaging. So I still think there's a place for DeMarcus Cousins
yeah,
in the NBA. I
definitely,
wouldn't give up on him.
definitely. No, not on Boogie. You can't give up on the Boogie Cousins. But yeah. So let's go into one of my favorite players. Mr. Kia. You know, dunking on everybody. Blake Griffin. Yeah, take it away. Take it away, Cbreezy.
Yeah, I'm also a big fan of Blake Griffin. I mean, Blake Griffin has come a long way. At one stage in his career, he was a top 5 player in the NBA, arguably the best power forward, and he's just an insanely great player. I mean, he's a freak of nature. He's When he was younger, his dunks was unbelievable, and unfortunately for Blake Griffin, he came into the NBA injured, and he consistently picked up injuries. And at this stage, his knees are as brass as sand. But Blake Griffin has evolved his game to the modern NBA, and everyone thought it was a death sentence going to the Detroit Pistons. But Blake Griffin worked on his shooting, he modernized his playing style, and eventually he had one of his best seasons last season, and he was an all-star again. So I haven't given up on Blake Griffin yet. I still think Blake Griffin is a fantastic player, and I think if there's a team that is just not yet a contender, they can do with Blake Griffin. But I think
Yeah,
at this current moment, the only thing counting against Blake Griffin is his contract, because his contract is very long, and with his history of injuries, that's pretty much untradeable. But that could get ugly.
yeah. No, like you said, his injuries, but yeah, that shows you he's still committed to being in the NBA because he's evolving with the game. Yeah, like he dunked when he was part of the Clippers Lob City. No, he was
Yeah.
absolutely a monster. Vertical was insane. Um, but he evolved his game into, a guy that is actually quite consistent from 3-point range, and you can count on him in the corner. And also, must say his handles also improved. Uh,
No, he's a good handler.
yeah,
He's a good playmaker.
yeah, definitely, definitely. So I think, um, okay, just sorry guys, this is maybe going to be a bit of a spoiler. Me and Cbreezy are going to do Detroit Pistons maybe video on Splash Bros, and Cbreezy is also on his channel is going to do Detroit Pistons. But like Cbreezy said, uh, there's a lot of teams that can get a lot out of Blake for the merchandising, for the player he is, and he can make a team a contender if you get playoff Blake. So I think there's still place for Blake Griffin. Like you said, Cbreezy, his contract is a problem. No, it's a bit too long and a bit too. I think he's maybe, I don't know, he's maybe overpriced a bit. Uh, or he gets, I don't know if I'm now stepping on toes or something, but yeah, I think with his injuries and all that, it's difficult to take that contract, and you don't know if he's going to play or if he's going to be
I mean,
injured.
yeah.
So
I mean, it's really difficult. because last season everyone was saying what we were saying now, and then Blake Griffin completely changed everyone's opinion about him, and he was an all-star again and winning for it. But is his contract that bad? Is there still a place in the league for Blake Griffin? But then injury struck again, and now we're in the same position. So either way, let's be honest. Blake can't stay on the Pistons any longer because he's too good for the team, and they want to rebuild. And the Pistons can't use Blake any longer because he's hurting their cap space and he's also hurting the chances of rebuilding. So I think it would be a mutual beneficial if both teams or parties parted way. But who's going to take Blake Griffin? Who's going to take that risk? Because that's a big risk, but it has very high reward. Because
Yeah,
if your team is struggling and you've been a playoff team for long, but you just can't seem to get over the hump, Blake Griffin is the guy to put you over the hump. But what are you willing to give out to Blake Griffin? What are you willing to risk? Because if he gets another injury, you're a bit stuck because when you've got uh, his contract on your books and you don't know what type of value you gave away, because if you look at his contract, you're going to have to give a fair amount of players to even out the salary cap, to make the trade eligible. So it's a very difficult
yeah, no,
situation for
definitely.
all, all parties. But
Yeah,
just to say one thing, Blake Griffin still has a future in the NBA for me because of the fact that he has evolved this game, and that's the only reason why I'm giving him that nod, because he's shown that he's willing to work on his game, and he's shown that he doesn't need his athleticism anymore because he has turned himself into a solid 3-point shooter, and that means he still has a long way forward.
yeah, yeah. And that's why we love the NBA because there's always topics and you know we can talk because when I and Cbreezy start to talk, you know, uh, it can get quite long, and it's difficult
Oh,
for us
maybe.
to when we do YouTube videos. It's difficult for us to just keep it like 50 minutes long because it usually goes and then we just talk and talk and talk. But yeah, Blake Griffin certainly has a place in the NBA and DeMarcus Cousins. So yeah, let us know what you think in the comments. This is going to be the end of this video. Hope you enjoyed it. Remember to like and subscribe. And yeah, thanks for viewing.
Yeah, just want to thanks everyone for watching our previous videos, and like Lampy just said, tell us what you think in the comments. Tell us if you think that there's still a place in the NBA for DeMarcus Cousins and Blake Griffin. And like always, remember to hashtag hit that jumper.